All right. So hello, Facebook world. Hello, Live Elevated community. So excited to be here today with Elizabeth Webb. You guys are in for a super treat. This is something I'm so excited about today's topic because it is literally a perfect fusion of the two things that are so dear to my heart. I see so many times people think that, that there's business and then there's the woo-woo people. and and they're like, oh, super granola and whatever. And what I love, the thing is that it's both of them together, the power of having intuition, being connected with that higher source of energy and power, and utilizing, running your life and your business from that source is so beautiful and so powerful. And this is what Elizabeth specializes in, guys. So she is a intuitive coach, and you go to her website, it's just fantastic. You're gonna see it's like sparkles, and I went on there and it like glows, like her website glows from just how everything moves. You'll see her speaking and sharing, and it's beautiful. And I will tell you guys, you definitely want to take a look at that. So I'm going to take a quick second to share. Anybody watching this, if you know anyone in business or just in life who wants to tap into their intuition more to create results, and I'll tell you guys about Elizabeth here in a second. I will tell you right now, you want to share this. So I'm going to share this. Elizabeth, if you want to share real quick, I'm going to share this onto my page because I want a lot. We want to spread the love and expand this conversation. And
okay, yeah, let's share it.
She knows her stuff. And while I'm sharing, so I actually met Elizabeth in at a women's mastermind that I'm part of the founding members, and we had a design summit in December, and it was pretty fantastic. Just the people that we met there, and she had just come, and she had just been running this long retreat. I think you're in Costa Rica or somewhere.
Right. Yeah, fresh from Costa Rica. That's right.
Oh my gosh, she flew straight in, just like wanting to be a part and serve, and even then, and she was like just tapping into everything she had to be able to be present. Was just still such a beautiful soul. And again, this is someone I'm excited to get to know more, and I love when people really understand how to combine our energies, our spirit, our source, and combine that into what we do. Because again, when we serve from a place of really alignment, it's beautiful what can happen and how much like wisdom and knowledge comes to you. It's like, it just like flows when you really learn how to tap into this. So it is going to be a very, very exciting class. So let's do this thing. So Miss Elizabeth, and I could give you guys all sorts of accolades, and I know I posted it in the group, and I do want to share with you guys, for anyone who's, excuse me, if you can share the different types of coaching, because I know you do, and if you go on the website, it's the life coaching as well for anyone who's really wanting to tap into their intuition, like just whether they're in business or not, as well as in business. So if you can share kind of how you got into any of this work, and specifically what you're focusing on now to start, and then we can dive in with some tools and tips. I'm really excited.
Absolutely. Well, first, thank you, Kathy. Yes. This is exciting. This is fun. So a little tidbit about my story is I started really young in the self-development industry. I've been in the self-development industry for 15 years now, which is crazy. It's really the only career that I've ever had. And my first foray was women's empowerment. And then I went from that, noticing that one of the areas of deep disempowerment was love. I went into the space of helping women with love. And I was only specializing in relationship and love coaching. And this crazy side effect started happening when I was coaching women and I was doing these classes and people were working with me. And that's that they started making a lot more money. So through the work that I was doing around self-worth, releasing attachment, really elevating their consciousness, getting them carrying themselves in a different way, and also interacting with other people in a different way, and just new different ways of being, which part of which was activating intuitive power. They were getting huge promotions. They were starting their own businesses. They were leaving behind jobs that weren't working. And I was like, holy smokes. Like, I didn't think that I was a business coach, but like everyone's doing really well in business.
Yeah.
So what's going on there? I moved to California, and what I thought was fascinating is the second I landed in California, men, for some reason, were like, I want to work with you. And I was like, I work with women. I'm not sure. Like, okay, like this is where the calling is now. So I ended up working, and now I work with both men and women. And the focus is around really developing and harnessing our intuition. And that creates massive results the way that I teach it in relationships, personal relationships. So I'm doing work around love and relationships, and I'm doing work around business. And part of me was like, I need to choose one. No, they go together. Like the consciousness is, it crosses over, and both things rise, both things elevate, but usually someone's in pain more about one than the other. So that's what gets them in the door. That's what gets me on that particular stage. You know, if I go speak for IBM or one of these tech companies, they're not like, help us with our personal lives. They're like, let's talk about business. But then afterwards, everyone's like, I want to talk about the relationship thing too.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, think about it for us. Like, and by the way, if anyone out there, please comment and post below if you've ever felt this before, where it's like when your personal life is thriving and you're just like so happy, joy, aligned, and you're just like, man, things are just so good at home. Have that you've noticed that all of a sudden things around you just seem to magically be happening, and you're like, oh my gosh, I got this business deal. Oh my gosh, the people at work are thriving. And if you've ever noticed that like when you're like at your best, it seems like things start going really well. When you're having trouble home, it starts,
or the opposite, right?
Right. And it seeps into the other. And the thing is, it's still a part of us. Right. And I remember I've talked to people about this, and it's so funny you mentioned that, because I'm the opposite, Elizabeth. I've always been a business coach. I'm a sales and entrepreneurship coach by trade, 17 years. And doing that, within the first year, it was like I had to step into the personal development space and deal with their minds, because there were so many limitations that were there that weren't allowing them to perform in business because of, you know, their issues from when they were like 8 years old, and dealing with rejection and dealing with all these factors. And so we had to dive deep to really transform. And that's where my book, Life as a Masterpiece, goes through that. Because people are like, wait, are you a life coach? I'm like, no. But it's all, you know, like it's all in one.
Intertwined. And if you try to separate and divorce the pieces, what you're going to end up doing is doing all the right things in the wrong ways. And then you're going to have to go back and do it all over again. Or you're going to build life and be like, wow, I look successful, but this feels like crap. Like none of this actually feels like me. And then now we got to figure out that. So
what were some of the most common things you were seeing as you started this process and saying, okay, I'm going to do relationships and business? You were saying like business started thriving, but as you started working with more, like what are more things that came, like how it evolved into what it is now?
Ooh. So every piece of work that I've ever done, or like my experience, have found me. So literally, like I was concentrating on relationships, and then people were like, no, my business is thriving. I'm making so much more money. And I was like, wow. And then people started coming to me for that. I started being invited on stages to talk about like one, I'm laughing because I did one talk and they were like, we don't know about that title. I called it Feminine Magic in Business. I've now changed it to Fearless Sales, because people were like, is she going to bring the crystals? Like, what's happening with this? Is this really valuable? Afterwards, it's a whole different story.
Right.
But both things really found me, the relationship coaching and the harnessing intuition in business.
What is the sales seminar? What is the name of it now, you said?
Fearless Sales.
Fearless Sales. Ooh, I love it.
Yeah, it's called Fearless Sales. It's one of my most popular talks. And what I basically have people do is practice experiences where they're out of their seats and they get to face the fear of not getting what they think they want. So
well, I want to talk more about this. By the way, a large part of our audience, Elizabeth, a large part are salespeople, direct salespeople, real
Ooh,
estate
I
agents.
love sales people.
I've been direct
What?
sales coach for 17
I
years.
love
So
salespeople. I
this
gotta
is
tell
this
you.
is our biggest part of our audience. So this was like, again, just so magically put together for you to be here with us right now. So I would love for you to speak more on this, because this is what people need to hear, I feel, in our audience right now.
Oh, absolutely. Okay, so before I talk about how to really like create intuition, I want to talk about a couple of the things that block our intuition.
Awesome. I want to take notes.
Oh,
Like,
definitely.
I'm gonna type. Go for it.
So before I even say, here's what I'm feeling called to say. What is intuition? We're using this word a lot, and there's probably some people watching that are like, why would I even care? Like, what even is that? Like, I'm not psychic. I don't believe in that. Blah, 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 blah. Getting tapped into intuitive power looks like trying on, and I'm not forcing this on anyone right now, because maybe it's true for you right now, or maybe you'll figure it out later, but it's trying on, maybe I know the answer. Maybe I know the answer. Maybe the answer is not out there. Maybe it's not from my coach. Maybe it's not from the guru. Maybe it's not through doing checklists about, is this the right thing or is this not the right thing? There's part of me, this divine, beautiful part, that is completely in a place of wisdom about what is the right thing. And there's part of me that has no lack, no limitation, that doesn't want to cling to this one deal because this part of me knows something better is coming. Or maybe this deal could get much bigger, or maybe it could go better, or maybe this is the wrong thing completely. And if we go down this road, it's going to be heartache and stress, and it's going to be a hot mess. So it's our human experience and our ego and our attachment to, I need to make this thing work because I have bills to pay. I need to make my quota. I need to, numbers need to be good this quarter. I need to get that award. So I need to force this one thing. I got to close this. And maybe you do got to close. Okay. Like maybe you got to close. Great. But if we're showing up with, I want, let me fit, let me force this, even if we've got that smile and we know how to schmooze, but inside we're like, let me close this thing. We're shutting ourselves off to what I call the feast. So there's all of this achievement energy that looks like, close the deals. What are the scripts? And I believe in that. And I think the achievement and the boom, boom, boom part of it is really important. And I teach that stuff sometimes as well. How to do high value closing, high value for yourself. But the intuitive power is like, hey, guess what? I know that mine is always coming. It's coming in such big ways. And I want this deal, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to close it. And if it doesn't close, it's because mine's coming in a different way, and I needed to do this.
Amen.
So that's what the intuitive power mindset and way of being kind of like looks like in a broad way. So before we talk about like, how do we actually get to this place? And it's not just this great idea of like, yes, God is my supply and abundance. I'm not into high language without teaching people how to embody it, right? So I'm going to go over, there's 4 major blocks to intuitive power. Right now, I'm going to go over 2 so we can get to the other good stuff. Does that sound good to you, Kathy?
Would you be willing to like label the 4, like just list them and then talk about 2?
Yeah, I would tease them. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll go into 2 and then I'll tell you that.
Okay, great.
Yeah. Okay. So the first block to intuitive power is attachment. Attachment looks like, I need it to be this way. I need this one. I need that person to sign that check. I need this romantic partner to like me back. I need him, like if personal life, I need that one back. It's got to be this way. And it's human nature to have desire. It's human nature to have attachment. So of course you want what you want when you want it. Like, you're a human being. It's what we do. And when fear is in the driver's seat, attachment to this one thing, and if it's not this thing, then it's all ruined. When we go like that and we grasp at what we think we want, or what we know we want in that moment, what our ego and our human brain cleverness wants, and we're grasping at it, we are blocking the feast. We're clinging to what I call the Ritz cracker or the cold ramen noodle. We're like, I need this cold ramen noodle. And the light or the universe is like, but if you just look over here, if this falls away, I've got so much more for you. So attachment. And I have an exercise that I'll show you a little bit later about how to release attachment and what do we do when we're going like this, when we're clenching. We're going, it's got to be like this. If it's not like this, everything's ruined, right? So first blockage to intuition is attachment. That doesn't mean never feel attachment. Of course, we're going to feel attachment. But if you say, okay, I think I want this, I'm going to do what I can to make this happen. And then I'm going to leave some wiggle room for the powers that be, knowing that if it's not this, it's something better for me. Those are the only options. It's not this or total ruin. That's not how my life goes. And trying that on is like, and saying it and practicing embodying it before you actually mean it is a big part of this work. So we're not always going to mean that. Say you want to close a $5 million deal or a $500,000 deal or whatever the deal it is that you're doing, and you feel like you need it, just saying, part of me knows that if this goes away, it's because of big doors opening that I can't see right now.
Yep, absolutely.
Period. Those are the options. So attachment is a blockage. Here's a big one. Big one. Lack of integrity. Lack of integrity blocks our intuition. It actually pretty much blocks everything. But for the sake of this conversation, it blocks our intuition because it has us feeling small and unworthy, and it takes up our energy to pretend things. So intuitive power requires some form of emptiness. We're like, okay, there's part of me that's clever and smart and capable, and I'm going to get the thing done. But also, what else? What else am I not seeing? What else is in store for me? And if we're bleeding our energy to pretending and hiding and protecting our lies or our things that we don't want people to see, and we've got the skeletons in the closet, and we're like, well, I'm like this on stages, but behind closed doors, that's not how I'm acting at all.
Right.
Or there's all this stuff that I'm not proud of. I really recommend, and one of the things that I have my clients do, I call it stepping into the light. It's like, hey, you're human. Guess what? Humans make mistakes. I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you. Like, have I done things that I'm not proud of? Yes, I have. And we get to clean it up. And when we clean it up, what we're doing is, I call it sealing the cracks in our vessel. So if our vessel is how much we're willing to have, and we've got cracks and breaks in it, and we're just bleeding energy because that bill isn't paid, we haven't called that person back, we said we were going to do that thing, didn't do it, didn't acknowledge it, I said I was going to bring you to that thing, just never followed up. Like any of the things that are like little piranhas or sharks that are like, you didn't do this. Like that busy leaking energy blocks our manifestation. It blocks our intuition, and sealing up those cracks in the vessel one at a time, making a list of like every little thing that I don't feel good about, like, ooh, that's funky. Ooh, that's funky. Oh, I could clean that up. I need to still have that conversation. You know what? I need to apologize. That was actually rude. I wouldn't want that done to me. Or financially, I need to clear this up, making the list and being like, I'm handling this. Even the act of ownership around our integrity, the intuition is going to start flowing. You don't have to clean up everything in one day in order to start accessing this power, but looking at it, owning it, and being like, you know what? I'm willing to look at this. I'm willing to live clean as possible. And when I fall out of the saddle, I own it, I clean it up. So those are the two main blockages that I'll go over. So attachment, lack of integrity. The other two that I won't go into a large explanation of is invalidation of intuition. So if you feel like your intuition didn't serve you in the past, or you were wrong, which there's a reason for that, I'll share with you another time. But if you feel like you were,
I'm fine going longer if you're available. I would love for you to keep going. It's awesome.
Okay.
It's awesome.
So, sure. Third block is invalidation of intuition. And one of the main reasons why we do this is, well, of course, there's the option of like, you never saw the value of it. And you're like,
Right.
yeah. I got to do the things. I got to go to the gym. I got to make my goals. I got to achieve, like, and ignore this whole energetic world that could just be having your back and flinging doors open. So if you never saw the value of it, I get it. So if you never saw the value, you're invalidating it. You're like, that's for somebody else. So if that's where you're at, that's fine. I invite you to just try some of these things on. Just try them out, see how they serve you. You don't have to do anything, but this could actually make your life a lot easier. So invalidation of the intuition for like, you don't see the value, or invalidation of intuition because you used your intuition in the past and you feel like it screwed you over, or, you know, you made the wrong choice based on intuition. Maybe it was disappointing or embarrassing. So that's, do you relate to any of this? Has that ever happened to you?
For sure. And so many clients that I've worked with too. I mean, that's why I said keep going, because there's so many people that I know can get so much value. And by the way, if you're watching, I know a lot of our watchers watch later, the replay. Please post questions. Please post comments. We'd love to know what you're taking from this. Like, what are your biggest takeaways?
Follow up on questions later. Sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And this is something that so many people struggle with. And I hear people say that and they're like, well, you know, I listened to that and this didn't happen. And I just don't trust that voice because I don't know what it is, or I don't know where it's coming from. And I remember, you know, at one point in my life when I was younger, I was just like, is this my desire, or is this what I'm supposed to do? Is this what I want to happen? And so I couldn't even differentiate, was this a desire of mine, or was this the right thing to do? I didn't know how to differentiate that voice, which is something I was going to ask you if you could speak a little bit on, depending where we got to. But I think people struggle with that, of like, where's this voice coming from, right? Is this the right voice? Is this the one I listen to? So I'd love your thoughts on that.
Absolutely. So our bodies store trauma, right? From past traumatic experiences. And one of the things that I hear people, one of the mistakes I hear people make is they have this like fear response in their body and they'll call it intuition. They're like, so that's something different. Like, oh, can't do that again. Well, why not? My intuition is saying no. And I'm like, okay, well, are you really coming from a place of emptiness? Have you really done all these steps? Have you really released your attachment to it being this way or this thing? Have you, like, are you living a life of integrity? Have you handled your past trauma?
Right.
Have you looked at it? or is fear in the driver's seat? So a lot of the time we'll call this fear voice or this like attachment voice. So I believe in desire, by the way, like yes to desire, nothing wrong with it. Love it, love it, love it. Intuition is a different thing, but like there's nothing wrong with wanting what you want. That's just different, you know, it's fun. And to get specific, that's a different form of attraction. So let's refocus. So I want to tell you about, do you feel clear on the difference between like fear voice and
the fear, super simple. I totally get that one. Still the desire for someone who's like, well, how do I know if this is like telling me to do this because I want it or because of this? What do you say to that? Because I hear the fear, it has to do with basically like, have you dealt with stuff from fears of the past, things, a blockage, all that.
Absolutely.
So the desire is coming, right. So that makes total sense to me. Now I can say for myself, and I'm very in tune with my intuition, but I couldn't explain to someone, how do you know if it's just a desire that you have or your intuition guiding in towards what you should have or do or act? Is there a defining there, or just with time? Because for me, it's just with time I've been able to like tell. But you know, for someone who's like, well, how do I tell? How do I know when I get there? Are there any keys or anything you've noticed or any distinct separation?
Well, the light within us wants what will serve us, and also what will serve us like truly in a very high way will serve everyone around us. So if the consciousness is, I want this because I want it and I want it this way, there's nothing wrong with that. There's lots of things I want, and sometimes I get them and sometimes I don't. Sometimes I get what I need instead of what I want.
Right.
This is a hard thing to differentiate, so thank you for bringing this up. So with desire, it's specific and there's usually attachment to it. I want to go here. I want to do that. I want to bring in 500,000, right? The intuitive power part of us goes, I want what I want, and part of me knows exactly what I want, and I'm going to work towards that. So that's good because we're funneling energy and we're in action, especially if we're in inspired, divine oriented action, which looks like I'm going where I need to go. I'm saying what I need to say. I'm working towards things, but also I'm open to what I don't know. That's the piece that turns the desire into an intuitive power desire. Like, yes, I want this. And also, if there's something better, please bring it. And if this is supposed to blow up, please let it.
Yeah, that's great.
That's gonna feel really scary and really bad for me, for a part of me. My ego is gonna be like, oh no, something bad's happening. But if I'm really in a place of trust and I know just how big and powerful I am, then I'm right. And no opportunity is ever the end. The end of an opportunity is ever the end. It might be the best beginning of your life, but in order for that to be true, we need to keep trying that on, reminding ourselves and not disengage with the fear, because that's always going to be there. I think every human being has fear. It's normal. So if we're like, part of me is going to be scared if this doesn't go through, but I know that there's something else. Bigger. When that falls through, like if it's supposed to blow up, please God, let it blow up now so I can see what else. I'm not going to cling to the cold ramen noodle when the feast is coming, but even if I can't see what's coming.
Right, absolutely.
No, so fantastic. I have an exercise around this, Kathy, if you want to, you want to hear an exercise?
Yeah, let's do it.
Great. So this is around when we know we're in fear. And I think we can call fear a lot of different things. You could call it attachment. You could call it anxiety. You could call it worry. But anytime we're like, if this doesn't work out, if that girl rejects me, or if this doesn't work out with this business partner, or if this deal doesn't close, I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, I don't know, like that cycle, like if it's not this, then something very bad has happened. That means we're in fear. So when we're in a state of attachment and clenching, the first thing to do is step one, stop and realize that fear has taken the driver's seat. It's just as simple as that. Like, okay, I think if I don't get this, that a crisis has occurred. What does that mean? That means I'm in a state of fear. And if I'm in a state of fear, that means my IQ levels just dropped to the basement. Like, I'm not in a state of creative power. I'm not in a state of flow. I'm not going to figure out where's the hatch door, what's the exception. I'm not going to be my best, most powerful self when I'm in a state of fear. If I'm like this, no, it has to be like this. First thing is stop and realize your IQ has just dropped and you should not be operating the car, right?
By the way, in layman's terms, and for those who have coached with me, I say when emotions are high, logic is low. So
yes,
right there.
Exactly. Yes to that. When emotions are high, state is low. So when you're in a state of fear, IQ just dropped, IQ's in the basement, all the brilliance has left the room. You're acting like a caveman, cavewoman. So stop and realize that fear's taken the driver's seat. You're not in a good space. So what I say, we never want to vanquish and just be like, I don't feel fear, because lies. Yes, you do. We all do. So I say invite fear. So we would just want to stop and then say, okay, there's part of me that is really feeling scared. Feeling. It's a good differentiator between I am scared. Part of me is really feeling scared. Another part of me, and sometimes I'll rub my chest and like activate this power and I'll like feel a light coming out of my chest. Another part of me knows if it's not this, it's something way better. See if you can get your smile back about the way better. If it's not this, it's something way better. And invite, in your mind, you can visualize this, invite the fear. You can picture like a little petulant child. Honey, you're not able to drive the car or the rocket ship. You're going to sit in the back seat. So I'm putting you back there. You're invited to the party. I don't hate you, but you're not driving. You're not driving. I'm driving. So then we're no longer in the car because we're going to do something with our hands. So I have people picture what it is, what they want, and like picture it right in front of you, whether it's a business partner, an investor, a deal, the person you think you want, or whatever the desire, but like the ego desire is. Picture clenching towards it, like I want it, I need it, and see what that feels like in your body. I want it, I need it. If this doesn't happen, then I'm in big trouble. Mm-hmm. Feel that and feel how disempowering that feels. And then turn your palms up, open your palms, and say, if it's not this, it's something way better. If it's not this, it's something way better. And part of me knows that that's true. Even if part of me cares that, part of me knows that that's true. And you can visualize white particles of light. That's all the possibility, just filling up your hands. Just filling up your hands. What is this? I don't know. It's the unknown. It's the feast. It's what's coming. Like, I don't have to go like this. It doesn't feel good and it doesn't work. And if it does work, it's going to be temporary. Like, it's doing the right thing in the wrong way. It's clenching. I'm going to keep it in action. I'm going to open my hands. What's the possibility? So claiming what's yours looks like I'm open what's mine in big and beautiful ways. I'm ready. And if it's this, please make it easy. And if it's not this, please let it blow up and let's bring in the other thing. I'm ready. It's not going to feel good, but I'm ready for what's mine.
Guys, this is so huge. Everyone watching this, I would like pause if you're watching the replay and just rewind and listen to her again. Say this.
Do that again.
We
And again and again
and again.
and again.
We're such creatures of like this. Nope, this is mine. Like, we're not taking it, or I need this. I want it. It's gotta happen. It's gotta happen. And I know you hear it, and I know I've said it to so many of my guys, and they kind of roll their eyes, you know, but really understanding that if it's not this thing, there's something better out there for you, because you deserve everything and more. But you have to believe that you deserve everything and more, and you have to release of everything that doesn't serve you, because the universe wants to give you whatever you want, but you don't deserve that you don't feel you deserve it. And so that's in the back of your head, and then you're trying, I need it, I can't just release and trust the universe, I have to be in control, I have to create it because I want this or I need this, versus going, I know that it's going to serve me well if I'm in alignment, if I'm open, if I trust, if I'm just really releasing. And I love the visual aspect of like doing this and turning around. Even if you clench your fist and just go like this, it's this like, like the sigh of release that you feel. And just imagine, like, when I'm in meditation and I'm thinking about abundance and just what I can do for people and how I can serve. And for me, abundance means more ability to serve others. And I sit there and I just put my arms out and I'm like, just give me the goods. Just give me everything. Give me everything I need. Give me everything I want. Give me everything that's going to help me serve at a higher level. And I just imagine just blessings being poured upon me, you know, and just know that it's out there. So this was freaking awesome. We're getting, oh yeah.
Yeah, I want to just acknowledge one thing about this, because I feel like there could be somebody watching that's like, you don't get it. Right now,
thank you for addressing that.
I am choosing between paying my heat bill and my electric bill. Like, F you and the fairy dust. And like, I want to let you know that I get it. Like, I get it. Like, I get it. I get being in pain about money. I get being in pain about love. I get it. And that's real. And I'm not saying it's not real. But if that's the place where you're in, I know that you will grind and you will figure out how to make that $100 and you'll make it work. But also, you get to decide to play another game whenever you choose to. $100, how do I get out of fear game is hard to break free from, but there is another level that's available when you're willing to look. And this is not a problem that gets solved in like a half-hour class. It's the reason why I have a whole body of work around this, and other people do as well.
Yep.
So I just invite you, that part of you that's like, this kind of pisses me off, but maybe it's true. Like, lean into it, maybe it's true. And also feel a little pissed off. If you feel triggered, there's probably something here for you.
It's fantastic. I could sit here for hours and talk on this. Elizabeth, I 100%, I want to have you back. This was probably, and maybe because I'm in sales and I'm so tapped into intuition, maybe it's because of that, but it's like my favorite. Everyone else, it's been amazing classes, but class 44, my favorite class thus far. Just incredible stuff here that I just feel, especially for our audience, just serves at such a high level, because we deal with this daily. We deal with this in our relationships, at home with family, like you said, people you want to date, in business, with deals, with whatever it is that we need. And I actually was speaking to one of my, mentors, and really someone who has become closer and closer. And I'm excited to be able to call her my friend. And she's unreal. We were talking about this yesterday and said, remove the word need. We don't need anything. We could desire, we could want it and be like, all right, well, if it's what I want this, throw it out there. And if it doesn't come, say, okay, well, I guess something even better is coming. And when we hit those areas where we're in chaos or everything seems to be going wrong, or just know that those are the times. And I was sharing with her, I was talking to a coaching client last week about that. And I said, when you're in the ugly, it's a good place to be. When it's comfortable, you're not growing. When you get into the ugly, I said, it's like a house, right? Right now, let's say this hotel room, I'm like, I don't like the color. I want to repaint it. Right now, it looks good. It's fine. It could stay like this for years and it'll be fine, but it could be better. I know it could be better. So if I want to make it better, guess what? It's going to get really ugly and messy first, because there's going to be paint everywhere. We're going to have tape everywhere. We're going to remove furniture. And it's not going to look good in that messy part. But then comes this beautiful finished product, and that happens in our lives. And so knowing that when we're going through the ugly, it's not, oh, it didn't work out. It's that we're working through, or when you're feeling those pains, those are growing pains. And we experience growing pains, but know that when you feel that, I do the same thing, Elizabeth, where it's like, bring it on. I know something bigger is coming. This doesn't feel good right now, and acknowledge your feelings.
Even if you're
acknowledge your feelings. Yeah.
Part of me feels terrified because I don't know where the next thing is coming. I don't see it yet.
Yeah.
Part of
Absolutely.
me knows. Let's tap into that. Part of me knows.
And I think that's so huge. And I was telling her, I said, this year I'm launching another business, doing some of the things, and people are like, oh my gosh. And I said, they're like, you're just never scared. I'm like, no, I am scared. I go, and I am scared. I just don't let that paralyze me. I own it and go, I'm a little scared. I'm not sure where this is going to go, but this is, and I love how you said, this is not going to drive the car. Like, it's there, it's okay. But I know that it will all serve me. I know that I'll get where I need to go if I really stay open to everything and stay open to possibilities. So it was awesome. I want to circle back because I don't know if I missed it. And if anyone's taking notes like I was, they might have missed it. There were 4 blocks to intuitive power: attachment, lack of integrity, invalidation of intuition. And I missed number 4. Can I have that?
What was number 4? Busy work, oversaturation.
Cool.
You know what? You missed it because I didn't tell you.
It's okay. Busy work, oversaturation. Just so we have it.
So if you're in every spare moment, you're on Instagram, if you're on the gram, if every spare moment you're in an app, you're in a text, you're in an email, and you don't allow space for emptiness, you're ripping yourself off of the space and the emptiness that it takes to actually get messages. So we're in an era of data overwhelm, and we can buy into it and really become of it, or not, choose something else and choose to create powerful pauses where we listen.
So I have one last question, which you might be answering. You've been answering all through. This is my signature question to everybody. If someone asked you, which I haven't asked you before, so this will come all natural, and I said, what does it mean? What does it mean to you to live elevated? How would you answer that question?
To me, living elevated looks like commitment to following my highest excitement. Always. And when I'm doing something other than that, which happens, life and responsibilities happen, and like sometimes my day gets so cluttered with like to-do lists, and like it starts to feel really heavy and like drudgery. I'm like, okay, I'm like, okay, fear's driving the car. I'm like, oh, I'm becoming one of those, gee whiz, it's a Monday. Like, I'm like one of those people, like, no, like, where's the excitement, and how do I recommit, and how do I make that a part of my life so it's the priority? And I fall out of the saddle with it. So it's getting back in the saddle of riding the horse or the unicorn, towards my highest excitement. And when I fall out of the saddle, you just keep getting back in. You just keep, okay, life doesn't feel exciting anymore. What am I going to do about this? What am I going to do about this? Also a commitment to growth and joy and play, and never thinking that any bad turn is the end of your story, because it's not unless you say.
I love it. You've been incredible. I shared your website, Positively Elizabeth. You guys,
that's right.
2 things I would say to our audience. Number 1, post questions, and also post things you want to hear more about, because we definitely want to have, share the love so she knows we want her back. I want her back. So post things that you takeaways. yeah, any takeaways, any questions you have, or anything you'd want to know more about that you think would be another great class for Elizabeth to teach, that would be amazing. Number two,
Yeah.
check out her social at Positively Elizabeth. She's on Instagram, she's on Facebook. Are you also on Twitter? I'm not on Twitter, but
I'm not on Twitter.
Yeah.
I don't
know how to use it. It scares me. I don't know.
I don't tweet. Yeah.
But, check out her website though. She's got so much love, so much power, so much knowledge, and really
And I send out videos if you want to sign up for my list, my Love Beam list. I send out videos that are just pure 2-minute content, just little beams of light into your inbox. So that's a really good way to stay in touch with me. And I'm available to come in, work with individuals or companies. And I love speaking about this, like I love nothing else. So if you got value, feel free to reach out and get more in a different way in terms of speaking, workshops, or coaching.
Absolutely. And I'll be sharing the heck out of this. And if you watch this, tag a friend, share with people you know could add, really take so much value from this, and keep expanding the conversation. We are so excited to see you all living your best life, living at your highest level, and really going out there and letting the magic happen from being in your best spot. So thank you again, Elizabeth, so much for joining us. This was, again, an incredible class. So I appreciate it.